and just decant all of it and just let it go. And that for me fills up my cup. And so it's important. And I have boundaries. I stick to those. After a certain point of the evening, 6 o'clock, I don't respond unless it's a matter of life and death.
Thank you so much for tuning in into this podcast and welcome. This is your host speaking, Annemarie, and we're talking about how to be your truest, most authentic self and show up unapologetically and authentically in life and business because you deserve the best. You deserve to vibe with the people and be found by the people who like you as you are, who appreciate your creativity, your uniqueness, your business, your experience, and just a way of seeing the world and showing up in the best way possible. And you can only do that by just being you. It's the best way to stand out. It's the best way to show up for other people. And it's the best way how you can show them that you are holding space and accept them as well. It's stemming from self-compassion and extending compassion. And in line with our current theme, intuition, and also in line with today's podcast episode, which is all about self-care and providing help for those who provide healthcare help, I am introducing you to Estella Hayward, who is a PA or VA, an assistant and administrative helper for people who are therapists and healthcare providers who are roughing it out there by themselves, but realize if they have somebody taking care of all of the back end stuff, of all of the red tape, all of the admin stuff, they can actually show up in their most helpful state possible. They can actually show up in their zone of genius, which is what they've been trained for, to help people, to diagnose them, to help them on their healthcare journey. And you can only do that fully if you don't constantly have your mind clogged with all of the things that drain you down. When there's people like Estella love to help with all of these things, to help sort through all of the mess and create structure and organization, and both people in that way can collaborate, can synergize, and can help each other out. And then it just creates this little happy cycle with a very positive snowball effect. And so, without further ado, I want to introduce you to Estella. Hello, and welcome to this podcast. I'm so happy to have you here, Estella. It's so cool. And we actually recorded this episode, and then all of the tech gods were not in our favor, and all of the curses rained upon us. And I was like, I could trip through. And the pitches were also against us very much. They were sabotaging me.
Yeah.
I have proof. But anyway, so I'm glad you could make it back, and I'm glad somehow the stars aligned today, and literally the stars are there right there in the picture. For those of you who cannot see it, the video podcast, but it has a starry background. It's beautiful, like her. And her name is also connected to the stars. So you know, Estella, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, so hello. I am Estella, and I am a virtual assistant, and by that I mean I work as a PA to business owners, and I work from my home office, so I don't have to travel in, which is awesome. And I help with a lot of admin stuff, including social media stuff, email and diary management, and just helping my clients have that awesome brain space so they can focus on how they want to push their business forward and what they would love to achieve in their business.
I love that. But you have a very special niche as well, where you focus on medical service providers, be it doctors, be it therapists, because, let's face it, they're usually solopreneurs. They wing a lot of stuff, but having to juggle all of that in your mental space, leads up to a lot of mental load, which every solopreneur or entrepreneur really knows. But then you have to be mindful and be there for actually humans and their actual problems. And when you're already running low on energy, how can you be fully present with people? And we all know, with all of the healthcare services and systems being a bit in a bind all around the world, how that affects patients, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
So I love that you're doing that. So tell us more about how that came to be.
So for me, I have a background in medical fields. So I used to work in within the NHS in the hospital, and I worked as a rehab assistant. So basically, what that means, it's almost one step down from like a nurse. But I had my own cohort of patients, and I used to take them for their physio and occupational therapy appointments, and then would come back on the ward and work on their exercises. And for me, what I noticed was how much the physios, the OTs, the mental health professionals that came in to speak to these patients, how much they gave. They would sit and talk to these patients and try and help them just to get back to some form of normality. Um, and for me, it was just so inspiring because they give their all and their everything. And so for me, it was when I started my business, I thought I would love to support these professionals because yeah, they give everything, and it's lovely for me to be able to support them and have their back, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a lovely calling to want to help people, obviously, but so
Yeah.
many people do that in so many ways. But when you're actually helping them on a physical level, when you see the pain and you see, all of the symptoms and ailments, then you can make it go away. And just because so many things got come together when, like your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, there's like so many ways. And everybody's so much also focused on, spiritual health and stuff. But that's why I love to have you here to just give a different perspective because, you know, bodies are super important, but,
Yeah.
we don't really appreciate it as much when we're healthy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The human body is an amazing machine, and it is just incredible, absolutely incredible. But to be able to keep yourself in tip top shape, and not just physically but mentally as well, and to be able to, because although they are therapists and although they are healthcare professionals, they are humans as well. And
Yeah.
that for me is the huge bit for me to be able to support them as humans doing what they love to do and me doing what I love to do. So yeah.
Right. And what do you think about this? Always this conundrum about when do you ask for help and when do you outsource? Because so many things are just mental blocks. For me, I've always been raised like hyper independent. I really pride myself on not having to ask for help. I might just teach myself new things, which can be good to some extent, but I also turn it into a flaw when I just refuse to accept defeat or refuse to accept it would actually be better for my clients, for myself, for just the entire business as a whole to ask for help because we only know so much. We only can do so much in so little time. And I am not a specialist. I love doing different things. I'm multi passionate. I'm a generalist and I like learning new things so I can do better at understanding how I can actually use them. And then ultimately, ideally, how to convey what I need to somebody else to then help me. But I guess if you're always stuck in this solo work, having to ask for help kind of often seems like failure. And I don't know how it feels for medical support because having to hire an assistant, how does that feel? Is there like some mental block right there that you often encounter?
Yeah, I think it's with the medical field, I think a lot of professionals are almost brought into, when they start within that field, it's almost like a put upon that you you need to be able to do things yourself, and you need to be able to kind of support yourself and get going, and it's fine. But we are, as I said, they are humans. We are human beings. Being Asking for help is not a failure because we work better when we are together. And to be able to have someone there, that and get rid of almost that stigma that put upon to say, you're not failing, it's asking for help. It's saying to someone, I need to be able to focus on that thing that brings me joy, which is my business, which is being with my clients and talking to them and helping them. And I don't really like doing the admin bit. I understand totally that I have to do it, but I don't like doing it. And that just kind of sucks the joy out of what I need to do. So
Yeah.
if someone is there like me that loves doing that, share the workload.
Exactly, because we all have this special skill, we all have this inner drive, and some people, call it purpose or look for the purpose, but usually it's something that sparks joy or makes you feel like at ease. And, work can and should be easy because then it means that you're just good at it, like naturally gravitating towards it. And then that's how you can show up in the best way, and everything else kind of drags you down. And I don't know how much of it is actually also taught when they get their training
Yeah.
about all of the business side of things. Because I know a lot of creative struggle, especially with business side of things. School doesn't prepare you for any of that. It doesn't
Nope.
teach you how to do taxes. It doesn't teach you how to be financially
No.
hygienic. It doesn't teach you how to be responsible, set boundaries, or it doesn't teach you any real life skills. What
Yep.
does school teach us? I don't know. Yeah,
All the technical stuff. Yeah. It's you do this way, and that is how you get to the end of that. And that's exactly the thing, if it's for me, it's about getting them to marry, having the business side in one hand and getting their passion and what they want to do in the other hand, and marrying the two, and supporting them to be able to marry the two, because no one, I've spoken to quite a few therapists, and no one really tells them how much shite they have to do business wise to get themselves up and running, because there's all the registration with all the professionals, getting insurance, and all the other bits that comes with it, like you said, registering as a solo business person, and all of that kind of it's not the fun bit, really. It really isn't the fun bit. But there's a lot to running a business and then going out there and being in your zone of genius, and
Yeah.
it's about marrying the two together. Yeah.
And I think that's also the underlying danger of multitasking, because you're sitting in your office, you're trying to get all of the calls in and trying to scribble them down and look at your calendar and sort your files, and I don't know, get all of the basic admin stuff. And then you have to sit in the office and then in the therapy room or whatever, and then just be open in the moment to receive whatever your patient is telling you and to be focused on them. And then you suddenly have to switch back to being in your office, and it's just
Yeah.
that is a guarantee to burn out, because you only you can't just completely separate yourself. So always something in the back of your mind, and then
Mm-hmm.
that it gives you a shitty service overall.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you're a therapist and you sat in a session, it's not really professional. It doesn't really look good if you've got your phone binging all the time to say,
Yeah.
messages. Oh, I've got a client emailing me. Oh, they want to change their appointment. They want to swap to another date. Someone is called or someone has emailed to say, oh, I need this. Can I book in for a session? You got new people booking in, inquiries and stuff like that. Yes, you need to be physically present. You need to be present in that moment when you're with another client, So having that brain space to go, I don't need to worry about that because Estella's taking care of that. And then I can catch up with her at another point and just find out what's going on and what needs to be focused on. It's amazing to have that brain space to be able to be present and work with your client. Yeah, it's just incredible.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also something that helps you just like you said before, be in that space. And what I see a lot in Germany, where I live, is when you try to get a therapy appointment, especially psychotherapy, You can't. You
Oh,
just can't
wow.
because they have no websites. They don't know how to set it up. They don't know how to manage it. They don't know how to work with the email. So you can only call them, but you can only call them like 1 hour in a week. And then it's usually the worst hour. And then they never pick up anyway. So it's like you're already mentally ill. It's already too much. And then you have to run by a number of all of these different places. And hopefully somebody picks up, but then they will tell you they're already full. And then your insurance will cover only a certain number of these people, not just the number, but like whatever insurance they take,
Yeah.
whatever. So like, so you playing kind of Russian roulette, maybe somebody will stick and maybe you'll get it next year, like if you're lucky, so everybody is overwhelmed because the therapists, they don't know how to take these calls or like all of these 1,000 voice messages because they couldn't take the call. So they will even tell you, do not leave a voice message unless you're a client. I will ignore it. And so you're sitting there like, a normal person would already be overwhelmed. Like, this is like, why can't I reach a person, an actual person? There's no way to talk to them. And then you're mentally ill, you're depressed, you feel rejection highly, you're sensitive. And then you get all of these walls slammed in your face. And so no wonder we are having a huge problem with mental health services at all because they're all private. Yeah, you can't just go to a university clinic, but maybe then there's like 5 of them, like students, like observing you, and you're like, great, that's awesome. The best way to get treatment, right? You're like a little bit.
Not ideal, is it? No.
No. So like at one point, like when I was looking for a therapy session like 2 years ago, it took me a year to actually find somebody.
Wow.
And I was calling, it was so mentally stressing. And I was already telling them like it's getting bad. And they were like, yeah, you can like try like another radio. It's like maybe travel an hour or 2 to the next town. I'm like, excuse me?
Oh my goodness.
Every week I should, excuse me. And then for one, I kid you not, one of them was open because they don't tell you that. Like it's just like a weird hunt because you have to ask your insurance and your insurance will not give you the specific information. So you call around and nobody helps you. And then maybe somebody tells you that you're entitled to having actually a trial. So like for every single new therapist, you have like a trial of 3 sessions. So you can actually see if they like you, if you like them, because it is such a personal experience. You can't just take the first person, right? But nobody tells you that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like until and it's a specific word, I can never remember that word. So I was always trying to explain to them, I want this kind of trial session, like the freebie, and they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Right. And then they will give you that, but it doesn't mean that they will take you on at all. It's just, so you can try out what it is like to go to a therapist or at least have somebody to talk to if you need it. I don't know. It's wild. I don't get it. And this one person was like, yeah, I don't have the capacity, but like, we can have this chat and then maybe he has connections and can tell me. And I was like, I'll take it, whatever, I don't know. And I had to walk for 40 minutes across town, across an island, up a mountain, and on top of like, and down again. And then he was living in a kind of museum thing. Like everything was like carpeted and the furniture was like 1800s British colonial style. And he had like a paravan from India. And I was like, what is this place? Like, what
Oh my
he had a specific taste. I loved it, but he was a bit eccentric.
Weird.
But he was one of the better ones I encountered. He was just like, yeah, you need help, but I can't give it to you. So oh, wow, thank you. I don't know what to do with this information. And so I had to go back like for 40 minutes, but by then it was already night. So I had to find my way down the slippery slope down a mountain where there's no light, just stone stabs with leaves, wet leaves covered. So I nearly like tripped and fell and broke my neck. Well, that's fun. Then I had to go across a bridge at night, no light, across this island at night, no lights. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm glad this didn't work out because how I would have made that work. That is stupid.
Like every day. Yeah, exactly. Or every week.
Every week.
That's incredible.
Right? I mean, the buses wouldn't go any place near or, they take the same time as me walking in this town that I'm living in. It's annoying. Anyway, so that was what it feels like to get therapy in Germany. That is like the perfect description. And it was just there in my face. I'm like, yeah, there you go.
That's wild. I mean, it's such a much needed service, and it's actually come to the forefront quite a lot since all this COVID stuff as well.
That is one good thing it brought out.
Yeah,
we need and we should destigmatize. There is such a huge shift. Like in the past 10 years, the shift has been so incredible because
Yeah.
when I was seeking therapy for the first time in 2014, because I was at like the lowest point in my life and
Right.
people couldn't help me. I was just like, you know what? I am actually depressed. I'm not saying I'm like sad. Look, I was
Mm.
actually depressed. Like one of my biggest hobbies is reading about psychology. Like I don't have a degree. I don't have the expert knowledge, but I read a lot about it and I was like, yeah, that is what I have. I need just somebody to tell me that and help me with it.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes you have to kind of self-diagnose before doctors can actually put you on a path to something, because
Yeah.
nobody diagnosed my ADHD until I told them, please do this thing, like run me through the paces. I
Yeah.
need an official
Yeah.
thing. Nobody
Yeah.
detected that in me. And I'm so obviously ADHD. And I was so obviously depressed. Like I was crying myself to sleep every day. I couldn't eat
Yeah.
properly. I had zero emotions. The only thing I could do was just be meh, or
Yeah.
just be completely triggered all the time.
Mhm.
And people were like, you're so sensitive. Maybe you should get a hobby. I was like, yeah, I'm depressed.
Oh my goodness, I hate when people do that. Yeah.
I know. And they thought it was healthy. And then I got bullied at work, and people were like, yeah, that's what it is like to work as, after because I graduated, couldn't find a job. So I had to take a shitty placement where they promised me maybe I would get a job if I were to work as this intern, couldn't even cover my rent. And like, it was the worst. And then people were like, yeah, well, you decided to take this on. Like, you have no options. You have to suck it up. And I'm like, I do not accept that.
You know, yeah. Mhm.
And so I was in this weird conundrum where I was like, I can see this going in a really bad direction. Like, I
Yeah.
had really mental problems and nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
And so somehow the mom of a friend, she was like, you know what? You need this. I talked to my therapist and she will squeeze you in.
Okay.
She's making it work for you. And then I just sit in this therapy and she was just like, so. And then we just stared each other down. I was like, what's going on? Like, talk to me. And she's like, you talk to me. I'm like, no, I don't talk to you. You tell me what to do. She's like, no, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't want to talk about, like the first few
Yeah.
sessions.
Yeah.
I just stood there, like, I just sat there defiantly. I was like, this is stupid. Therapy is stupid. I have no emotions, so I can't talk about emotions. It was like full teenage, like,
Yeah.
age. Yeah. And then she
Yeah.
asked me all of these questions that I found ridiculous. She was like, so how do you feel? I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, so where do you feel? I don't know. I was like, what? What do you mean? Where do I feel? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And then she was like, so what color is that? I'm like, what? She was trying to make me feel the body sensation, because one
Yeah.
of the things is that people are like, feel your feelings. Like, what the heck is that? I intellectualize everything. I intellectualize
Right.
my feelings. I'm in my head. Don't tell me that. So like, it's usually getting to the point where I can actually feel like, oh yeah, if I have this emotion, it feels like a brown stone, like on my liver or whatever. Or like if I feel this
Right.
emotion like above my heart, or like it's going
Yeah.
this way or that way, it's moving, it's shifting. Just getting to that point of actually living in your body, because so many people try to separate the mental from the physical, from spiritual, and it's all connected,
It's all connected. Yeah.
right? And she
Everything.
was
Yeah.
all about that, and she had the patience of a saint. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna travel to the end of the world. I need a hard reset. And she's like, I would actually like to put you in like a serious treatment, but if that's what you want, go for it. I was like, are you do you not want to lock me away? Like every other therapist I've seen, they were just like, they looked at me like, yeah, I don't have capacity. Let's just put you in some clinic. And was like, ew, that's scary.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
Yeah.
That was like the answer of everybody. Like, we don't have capacity. Let's just put you for like 4 weeks in some clinic. And then you were sitting around in groups and talking about your feelings or whatever. I don't know. I was like, that's scary. And she was like, yeah, we don't have to do that. If you feel like that's what you need to be healthy, do it. And I was like the actual only person who supported that move. And that move actually led me to to just starting my business, to starting a new chapter in my life that completely,
Yeah.
basically saved my life. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So therapy is so different for everybody, but it's so
Yeah.
important. And
Yeah.
and like I said, then you couldn't talk about it. You had to
Right.
be really careful, and then
Yeah.
even get worse responses, which makes it worse, obviously. But like the more I traveled, the more I like met strangers. Like there were people who were like, "Oh, you look sad. Do you want to talk about it?" I'm like, "Who are you?" And then I just like burst into tears, like
Yeah.
unloaded. And they were like, "They're there," like
Oh.
what they do in Queen Charlotte, like sorrows. Like, what did you do? Did you watch that? Oh my gosh. Yeah, no. Oh. I messed this up. Anybody who knows it, put it in the comments, please. Oh my gosh. That series is
No.
actually super great. Watch it. It's also about mental health, by the way. It's on Netflix. Anyway, this is not paid or sponsored by Netflix. Please do it, though, Netflix.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh, very subtle. No, but like
Little nudge.
yeah, like no, but like it was just so great to see a shift where you find people who actually take care of your mental health in some way, or
Yeah.
respect it, or help you feel
Yeah.
feelings, or
Yeah.
give you space. And I think that's also part of what you do in a way. You're not just like doing physical tasks for them, taking an actual workload off of them, but you also are like an emotional support animal of some sort. Right? You're
Yeah.
there for them to like
Yeah.
talk about
Absolutely.
their experience that like
Yeah.
people outside of the field can't understand.
Like and that's the thing. It's not just, like you say, it's not just providing the admin side of the business. It's being able to sit there, because I like to take the time to sit with someone and understand them, understand what they're looking to achieve, where they're looking to push their business forward, and then helping them achieve that as best as I can. You know what I mean? Because it's if you like you've been through the whole journey of trying to find a therapist, and sitting with someone and then going, "Rack, what the hell is this crap?" And it's the flip side of that. They sit there and I go, "I have got so much shite in my head right now," and I go,
So much I would love to tell you, but I can't because that's not professional.
"No,
They can't like put stuff in your head. They need to be a soundboard,
yeah,
and I
exactly."
don't know what
And
it does to you,
and
right?
it's just about creating that space for them to go, "I'm dealing with this, that. I've got all of this stuff going on. I don't know what to do with this, and I don't know what to do with that. And how do I get this to work that way? And how do I do this? And how do I, you know what I mean?" And just
Yeah.
giving them that space to go, "Bleh."
Yeah.
And then I go, "Okay, so I can help with this. You don't need to worry about that. And I can help with that. You don't need to
Right.
worry about that. And I will," you know what I mean? And
Yeah, so they don't have
that's
to project their frustration onto the client unknowingly.
no,
Because they're humans.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's giving them that space as a human to go, "These are my frustrations. This is what I'm struggling with." And a lot of them is it's that balance, because quite a lot of therapists find it having that, some work in isolation, and it can get very lonely being a therapist, having your own private
Mhm.
practice, because you need to be able to have supervision, another professional that you can go to and go, "Do you know that patient? What do you
Yeah.
think?" And
Yeah.
having that peer support as well, and being able to go, "Okay, these are the processes that Estella has put in place for me, and that works absolutely well. But I need to go and network as well, and be able to
Mhm.
talk to my peers, and be in that other professional space where you can have that body to body kind of talk." So it's so important to be able to do that. But finding your feet to be able to do that is tricky.
Right.
It really is tricky for them.
And I also wonder, do they also vent about their sessions? Not necessarily like talk bad about their patients because that's not fine, but sometimes you hear things and you have to process that trauma. I'm sure it hits you as a human, right? So like
Yeah.
it's such a delicate balance to, you have the confidentiality. So you can't go outside and talk about it with your friends and family. You
Yeah.
can't talk about your work. So if there's somebody else working with you, and I'm sure you have confidentiality clause, I don't
Yeah,
know how much of
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
is part of it as well, just like listening to them. But you're not a therapist either, so like it's tricky, I'm sure.
Um, I'm not a therapist, as in like a trained therapist, been to therapy school, I like to call it, as such. But I'm a therapist of sorts, because being able to create that space for them, they can come and say, um, "Okay, I've had XYZ patients come in, I need to be able to deal with them." And it's not them talking to me about what happens in their sessions, because I don't need to know that. That is not my business. That is them and their patients. That's confidentiality. I don't even cross that boundary. It's not my business. But to be able to just step outside of that and go, oh my God, I've had 8 patients today. I'm exhausted. And I go, okay, so what we're going to do about that? And are you going to go to the gym? Are you going to go to Zumba? Are you going to take a walk? Are you going to, go for a sit in a coffee shop? Or are you going to Netflix? You're going to sit and watch Netflix for like an hour and just unwind, because it is so important for them to be able to do that, because they will suffer from compassion fatigue, because they're dealing with that constantly on a day-to-day
pouring
basis.
from the cup. Yeah,
absolutely. And they need to fill up their cup to be able to go, okay, I can be able to help that person.
exactly. It's like when you're an office worker, or like you're employed at a company, you have those breaks and you all hang around the water cooler in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And you actually just have human connection. You can talk about things, you can just sit together, like whatever needs to process things, or to just rest, right? And so you're just there to like have a human interaction, and maybe even, have somebody reflect back to you, like, you look like shit, maybe you should take care of yourself right now. Right? But they already know you, so like they know it comes from a helpful, loving place, and you know how to talk to them, how to reach them. Like they're not a random lady on the street giving you unsolicited advice. Like,
oh,
you don't want that
shit.
Yeah, you don't. Like my best friend can tell me that, but like just lay on the street, I will find her.
Right. Yeah. It's just it's so important. I mean, we talk about self-care all the time, and everyone knows self-care, but it's being able to take care of themselves as well and fill up their cup so that they can be able to help someone else. Yeah.
Exactly. And how do you help yourself?
Oh, me, I love it. I do a lot of meditation, which is incredible, because I can sit there at the end of the day, start of the day, the end of the day, and those two are immovable.
I love that. You're good at boundaries, I guess.
Yeah, that is it. And it's great because, it's preparing myself at the start of the day, and at the end of the day, I can sit there and just go, okay, all of these thoughts side. Yeah, that's great.
Bye.
Quiet. Yeah, and just decant all of it and just let it go. And that for me fills up my cup. And so it's important. And I have boundaries. I stick to those. After a certain point of the evening, 6 o'clock, I don't respond unless it's a matter of life and death.
Yeah.
No, it will get dealt with the next day, because for me, from 6 o'clock onwards, that's my time. That's for me and my family time, because I am human as well, and I need to do my own shit as well.
Exactly. So, and you need to recharge as well. So like, it's absolutely different. I love that. I love that for you. Good, healthy business boundaries.
You have to. Yeah, you have to. It's so important, and I do feel for them. And working. If you choose to work on a weekend, that's great. You're making the conscious choice to do so, but because if you're working at the weekend because you haven't been able to catch your breath during the week as a therapist, then that's like 50-60 hours a week. It's not healthy. It's not healthy.
And you just essentially work for the burnout, or just work for your pension, and then you're not good enough to actually enjoy it.
I know, right?
One of the biggest traps in lives, like worker bees, it's tools, or like have embodied so easy to just think, oh my gosh, I'm working for the weekend. Thank you for the weekend, and then it's too short, and then, oh my gosh, looking for the holiday. Oh my gosh, I'm looking for retirement. And like, if you just circle back, if you just step back and be like, that is actually sad. And that doesn't help me, like you spend so much of your life working for somebody else's vision, and then you're not even enjoying it. There's always a way to enjoy things, even if you're in a moment of like tolerating them or transitioning something. But still, like, it should still be something, even if it is just work, that you can still get some kind of benefit from, like just mental health wise, because it will affect you even on a physical level. Like, I don't know how much you see that with, I don't know, like elder patients, Gen Z, like how much it already has affected them, because that is still the mentality that has been like passed on, right? That's why a lot of people are shitting on millennials and Gen X for having these boundaries and saying absolutely not. Like, I work 9 to 5 and I'm gonna get off at exactly 5, and if you disrupt it, I'm gonna add that to my break time and stuff like that. And you're like, how dare you? And we like have to work overtime. Like in this one internship, they were like, I wasn't even getting paid enough. Like, we expect you to be earlier than everybody and later than anybody else. And I was like, I'm not even getting paid properly. And you expect me to work more than you, and you actually get paid? And they were checking my time. They were like tracking my minutes every single time I took a break. And I was like, this is cruel.
Oh my God, that's
so
not,
cruel.
that's not even, that's military almost.
But why?
Yeah.
And then they were even like, well, you're going to the doctor again? Because I was physically sick so much from all the mental stress. And then they were shaming me for it. And I was like, now I have to go again because you just caused more anxiety. I'm like, yes, I'm a wreck, but it's because of the work. And if I just step back, and when I did, become a self-employed and travel the world, suddenly like my ailments were gone.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because there's no stress. Stress can be a killer. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. Like it's worse than cigarettes. They they did studies on that.
Yeah.
And so it's important to be mindful of yourself, because you fall into autopilot. So at some point it might flip. You might enjoy your work, and then suddenly you're like, oh wait, I've outgrown it. They're not accommodating my need to like further my education, to apply myself more, or to shift with my interests or skill sets, and they don't want to promote me or whatever. And then you'll realize, oh no, I'm trapped. But you're not. You always have some sort of choice, and it's a thing of privilege to say that, but at some level there is so much choice nowadays. Or even just seeking out help and getting mental fortitude through therapy, or being mindful, finding online community, like some sort of place where you can unload in a like conscious way, where people are not like emotionally dumping, because that's bad. Ask for consent.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's so important to be able to find that support, because if you have people that will lovingly kick you up the backside when you need it, and lovingly support you when you need it, then those are your people.
Exactly.
To be able to find that community is invaluable. Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
And loneliness, like not just being alone, that's fine, but loneliness, feeling disconnected, feeling unseen, or not having a support system, that is also a killer. So it is so important. It's just, I see it all the time, like how community is so crucial. Oh my gosh. I just wish we were living in like a world where everybody's like happy and like a little bit of
wouldn't that be amazing?
Right. Just kindness and compassion, but it does start with oneself, right? It's the thing. So like, if you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to handle this business properly, I'm not in the flow anymore, I don't enjoy it anymore, then you're like, I need to do it for myself. Like, but what if your family disagrees? What if you do? Like, no, I need to save myself first. I need to put myself on that door, DiCaprio, and let you drown. Bye. Little Titanic reference right there. What was his name? Jack. Bye, Jack.
But it all starts with you and connecting to you, and if you can connect to that inside and know what it is and where you're going, then that connection to self first, and then
you can help, and then you can be a good therapist too.
Absolutely.
Because I've had terrible therapists as well. I was like, you need help.
Yeah. Therapist needs help. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is your biggest tip for like healthy boundaries and self-reflection other than meditation?
Healthy boundaries. Oh, you've got to be firm but gentle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Just
gentle parenting yourself.
yeah, kind of. Yeah.
That's why I love gentle parenting TikTok. I don't have kids, but I'm fascinated. I'm applying it to myself often, or like to some unruly adults as well. Just such a game changer. Just like,
Yeah.
do you think you're proud of what you said? Just like living the script. You're like,
Yeah.
are you sure that's what you meant? Do you want to tell me what that is? Just tell me again. What did you just say? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, how do you
Definitely.
speak to yourself? Like, is that what you
Yeah.
say to a friend?
Yeah.
And that was
Absolutely.
when I open a moment for myself. Like, I would never tell
You would
anybody
never.
that
Yeah.
how I talk to myself was like, oh, and then you unlearn these things. And you're like, where does this come from? And break the
Yeah.
patterns and all of that. And then just so many things change, like lifting a veil.
Mm.
And yeah, I think that's the one thing that is so inseparable with business and life. You can't just be like the super functioning person in business and be good at boundaries, but then you're kind of not good in your personal life. Like everything has a trickle down effect in
Yeah.
some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will miss out. Yeah, so self-compassion is so important.
Yeah. Absolutely. And just watching what you say to yourself as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's amazing how something as silly as or as simple as turning if you did something and go, oh my God, you're so stupid.
Yes, it's such a classic. Like playfully
Simple
talking shit
thing
about
like
yourself.
that. Yeah, don't talk smack about yourself. You are a wonderful, wonderful human being. You just
Yes.
don't talk smack about yourself at all.
No, and it's so
Ever.
funny. It's just a joke. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, you keep saying that. Your body doesn't know the difference. Your brain doesn't know. It will register that, oh yeah, I'm stupid.
Yep.
You know, it's just like when you tell a kid, like, don't climb the tree. We're like, climb the tree. I should climb. Okay. Right. No, just be nice.
Yeah, that was me up a tree always as a kid. It was like,
Dude, I got
that's
anger
what the
instead. My parents hated it. I was like, but I need to know what it feels like. It's probably cool. And the view, it's great.
Yeah,
But it's not my fault. It's not my fault you put me in a dress. I didn't like the dresses.
Yeah.
It's stupid for climbing.
absolutely.
It's your fault.
Not helpful for the climbing.
No, like please think
Yeah.
about it. Like be
Yeah.
strategic.
Yeah,
No.
I was always up a tree as a kid. Drove
Oh,
poor mother mad.
I love it. Yeah. And I was like in summer, like my mom loves recalling that. Like in summer, my legs were covered in plasters because I was always scraping. But I was just like, if you couldn't hold on to me, I'd be gone. Whoosh.
What?
And then tell me how nobody saw I have ADHD.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. A little Tasmanian devil. Yeah. Oh
definitely.
my gosh. Yeah. So is there anything we haven't covered yet that you want to like leave the audience with?
No, I think if you want to have a little bit of my shizzle, come and talk to me on LinkedIn, and I'll give you the links and everything. But yeah,
They're all down below in the description. So you
Yep.
see it all, click through, say hi, get some help. Or, maybe somebody who's struggling could use actual admin help so they can
Yep.
focus fully on their Zen and zone with Jesus.
yeah,
Yeah.
come have a little bit of the Estella shizzle.
I love that.
It's
also, yeah, I get that. I get that awesome sauce.
Yeah.
I love that. The little starry, shiny brightness right there.
Yeah.
I love it. That was such a nice chat. Thank you so much for being on this
No
podcast.
problem. Thank you for having me.
Yes. And thank you, thank God, for allowing the session to be.
Yeah.
No pigeons today either. I made sure of that. I made a crazy contraption on the balcony
Yeah.
to ward them off. It
Yeah.
seems to work.
Awesome. That's
Awesome.
brilliant. Yeah.
Self-sufficient, right there. Setting boundaries physically with the
Yeah.
pigeon.
Go.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here.
Oh,
shoot.
thank you so much. No worries. And you too. right. Take care.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. As always, I had so much fun talking about all things mental health and self-care and authenticity in business and why it's important to reach out and ask for help and how that is actually a positive, how that is a strength to do that, and how it just helps make the world a little bit better. Even if it's just your little corner of the world, it's totally fine. And you can start for yourself. And yes, you should. Like on the airplanes when I tell you to save yourself first, only then you can help others. Because you're no good being there fainted, right? You need to do the cup filling first before you can pour it out. Obvious. So I always love these chats. I always love diving into all of these issues. And I love the change in culture and society that is more focused on self-development, self-care, other than just bubble baths and shopping. There's so much more deepness, so much more unlearning, so many layers to unpack, and it's such a fun journey. And I love talking to so many different women and female entrepreneurs around the world who are ready to embark on a journey, already on the journey, and sharing their wisdom. So if you are one of them, or if you know somebody who would be a great fit for this podcast, get in touch. And also get in touch if you want to connect with Estella, if you want to say hi, if you know somebody who could use her help, or just to network, because we're all here to collaborate, we're all here to spread joy and expand our horizons. And it doesn't always have to be like a pitch that you have to drop to be worthy of dropping into somebody's DMs. We're all a cool collective here. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you're listening on Apple, please leave a review so more people can find it. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to listen to more episodes, which are coming on a weekly basis. And with that, I will leave you with the links down in the description below, so you can follow us, you can say hi, you can share a tag and all of that jazz. And I wish you a fabulous day. Bye.